This is Deus Vult Burn and Loot, the new skirmish level game from Fireforge Games, the Italian company who produce a fine range of medieval plastic and metal figures, and who already published this book's bigger brother, Deus Vult. Burn and Loot is a complete set of rules for combat in the 11th to 14th centuries, and we're going to have a flick through to gain a basic understanding of what they're all about. In the opening Tools of War section, we're given a guide to the number of figures and base size etc. required for the game. We're looking at around 40 to 50 figures for an intro level game of B&L, with miniatures based on standard infantry and cavalry bases. My first thought was to play Burn and Loot with figures I have for Lion Rampant, which are individually based but on round bases. And although B&L features a close formation rule in which figures would look better lined up on square bases, I can't see any reason why circular bases wouldn't work too. For a playing area, a 3 foot by 3 foot table is suggested to begin with, expanding to 6 by 4 for larger battles. Burn and Loot uses unit profiles which include a stat line featuring move, discipline, courage, resilience and defence. We also need to record a unit's type. This can be melee infantry, missile infantry, light cavalry, etc. A unit's faith, equipment, traits and reactions are also included on its profile. We have rules here for morale, pushbacks and break ranks. Getting into the meat of the rules, we're introduced here into one of Burn and Loot's key components, activation and command and action points. Each turn a player needs to activate a unit, placing a token next to it so it's clear it has been activated. A unit that can then carry out 4 points of action, which include things like advance, charge, dismount and restore morale, etc. Each action costs a different number of points as indicated in parentheses, e.g. attack costs 4 points. That will be all a unit could do for that turn. Following a few notes on movement, we get into shooting and melee. Melee works by rolling a number of dice equal to the models which can fight in the unit, with additions or subtractions for charging, having the martial prowess trait, or being demoralised. It looks like charging is key to winning a combat, because this would mean a unit of 10 men would double their melee score to 20. This means it rolls 20 dice. Once you have your buckets of dice, you need to score 6s for a kill or 4 5s or 6s for a kill if the target unit is demoralised. Everything else is a miss. The defender does get a save in the form of a defensive dice roll, and after that has been subtracted from the score, all casualty figures are removed from play and a combat morale test is made, which could result in demoralisation or even destruction for the stricken unit. We then have sections on victory and defeat and terrain and buildings. Siege warfare is covered pretty comprehensively in the rules, which is entirely appropriate for such a siege-happy period of history. There are rules and stats for individual siege engines, as well as for grappling hooks and using rocks, etc. In Anatomy of Stronghold, by the way, there are a few questionable translation lines in the book, the rules for sieges are expanded into things such as damaging a tower or charging the main gate of a castle. As I say, it's entirely appropriate that siege rules are included for a game covering this period of history, but I'll have to reserve judgment as to whether they actually work or, more importantly, are enjoyable to play. They certainly seem well thought out though. From page 27 to page 30 we have rules for recruiting your force, in which there are details on the important role played by the battle leader in the game. The battle leader has his own profile, and details regarding his equipment are also taken into consideration. Army standards are also covered here. Traits and reactions are covered next. These are various special abilities which can be assigned to your units, like Fanatical Assault, which allows a unit to re-roll during an attack, or Belligerent, which allows a unit to charge even when demoralised. The scenarios come next, 9 in total, all short and neat affairs, just 1 page given over to each, with deployment, points per force and victory conditions being listed. The final section of the book contains 12 army lists for burn and loot forces covering Western and Eastern Europe and includes Mongol Horde, early Plantagenets, Teutonic Order, Feudal Polish and more. So there you go, Burn and Loot, a nice looking 68-page softback rulebook from Fireforge Games, a medieval skirmish level game which we're looking forward to trying out here at War Games Illustrated and featuring in more detail in the magazine.